Lions and Raiders on Monday Night Football tonight. I'm going to take a look at the Stokastic lineup generator to see some of the lineups being generated for DraftKings Showdown slate tonight. Just DraftKings in this video. FanDuel is going to be a separate video. While you're coming in, please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. We're trying to get to 100,000 subscribers, getting close, so please subscribe and hit that notification button so you can get alerts when our shows go live. If you haven't already signed up for the lineup generator, $14.95 per week, and you're going to get FanDuel, DraftKings, main slates, every primetime showdown slate. All of that is included in that $14.95 per week price. So check it out if you haven't already done so. You're only getting long-term profitable lineups here in the lineup generator. All right, I'm going to take a look at some DraftKings showdown lineups. And I did something different the last time I did this video. I took a look at some chalky lineups to see if I can find lineups that I like for a large field GPP, even within the chalky lineup. So sometimes you can find lineups that are actually have high cumulative ownership, but because of some other levers they pull to get more contrarian, they can still be not duped a ton, which is generally my goal for the large field GPPs. Is just not to be duped a lot. I want to have lineups that have a real chance at winning, and they're not going to be duped, more than 10, 15 times at most is generally my goal here. So I'm going to take a look here, deciding if I want to do all lineups or just chalky lineups. I'm going to go back to chalky lineups for this video. I want to see if I can find some lineups I like in the chalky builds. I'm not going to specify a game script here, but you can in the showdown. This is a really cool feature of the showdown lineup generator is you can choose both teams going over their total, both teams going under their total, or anything in between if you want to. But I'm just going to use standard projections here. All right, first lineup we see here is leaving $1,000 on the table. That's the first thing that I'm looking at here because I know I'm choosing chalky lineups here, so we're not going to get super contrarian with the plays. So I want to see if there are other levers being pulled here to get a little bit more unique. So first thing I see, $1,000 left on the table. I like that. I like leaving some salary on the table. Now I'm going to look at the quarterback correlations. We only have one quarterback in this lineup. That is Jimmy Garoppolo. He is a statuesque quarterback. You need to have some pass catchers paired with Jimmy Garoppolo, and you've got plenty here. You've got Devontae Adams in the captain spot, Jacoby Myers, and Michael Mayer all making it into this lineup. And then on the other side, we have Amon-Ra St. Brown and Brock Wright. I think this is a lineup that could work in a large field GPP. Probably going to be duplicated more than 10, 15 times would be my guess. Probably more, 20 times or so. But honestly, I'm not great at predicting dupes in general. So I'm just speculating here. But this one, we've got 10% owned Devontae Adams in the captain spot. We do have 7% owned Brock Wright. Bringing down the ownership a little bit and then leaving some salary on the table will help. I think this will be duped some, but probably not, overwhelmingly. This is not a lineup that's going to win $10,000. My guess is that it's going to win significant money. So I do like this one for a large field GPP. I think I would play this one. All right, let's see if we can find a couple more. This one leaving only 200 on the table. Does have contrarian Craig Reynolds in the captain spot at sub 1% projected ownership, but I think that this is going to be a build that, you wouldn't think having a 0.7% owned captain that it could be duped that many times, but this is like, just playing all of the best plays in this lineup. So I do think that this one would probably be duped more than I would be comfortable with. I'm going to skip over it. All right, this one's leaving 2,200 on the table, so that is something that I like to see. We've got Devontae Adams in the captain spot, around 10% projected ownership. We've got Jimmy Garoppolo. I like this one actually, I think, better than the first one in the sense that the first one we had Adams in the captain spot, we had Jimmy Garoppolo, but then we had 2 or 3 other pass catchers for the Raiders, and that gets a little bit thin for me. This one we only have one other pass catcher, and it's 1,200 Hunter Renfrow, who could pay off his salary without having to do all that much. So this one we've got Devontae Adams, the captain spot with Jim Garoppolo and Hunter Renfrow. We do not have Jared Goff in this lineup. We've got the Lions defense and kicker, and then Amon-Ra St. Brown, leaving 2,200 on the table. I think this lineup makes a lot of sense. This looks like a lineup that could win. So I like this lineup. All right, let's find one more. This one's leaving 1,200 on the table. We've got Amon-Ra in the captain spot. We've got Jared Goff in there. We've got Jameson Williams in there as far as pass catchers to pair with Jared Goff. We have Devontae Adams on the bringback. We've also got the Lions defense, and then we have Trey Tucker, who got a bunch of snaps in the last game, mostly in the fourth quarter of a blowout, so I don't read too much into it, but he's a guy who can, put up a big score and doesn't need to do all that much at $600. So just one splash play pays off that price tag. So I think that he's certainly a viable play here. Yeah, I think this lineup makes a lot of sense, leaving 1,200 on the table. I don't think it's going to be duplicated a ton. So there you go. In the chalky bucket, I can still find lineups that are going to make sense for me, even in the large field GPPs that I play. So I like these lineups. And of course, all of my analysis, I want to remind you, is always related to large field GPPs. All of these uniqueness factors, not things you really need to consider in smaller fields, certainly not in cash. All right, now I'm just going to go through and save as many lineups as it lets me, and then we'll take a look at what our final exposures are. On the final screen, you can see what your exposures are to every player. So this one, we've been getting bonus lineups. I think we got to 39 lineups of this one. I must have discarded one. We got to 49% Amon-Ra St. Brown, 46% Jahmyr Gibbs. Those are our two highest exposed players. Makes sense. I mean, Amon-Ra St. Brown, absolute stud out there. Great matchup with the Raiders. Makes sense to get to a lot of him. Jahmyr Gibbs just too cheap for the role he had last week. He was just really involved, playing, vast majority of the snaps for the Lions, and he's just 8.6K. So it makes sense we're getting to a lot of him. Devontae Adams, Josh Jacobs, Jacoby Myers, really condensed tree of opportunities there for the Raiders. And these are three who are getting the most, and Adams, Jacobs, and Myers. So we're getting to them. Lions defense, that's sort of interesting. Getting to 36% of the 5K Lions defense, that does surprise me a little bit. But getting to Jared Goff doesn't. Michael Mayer seems to be rising up the ranks there for the tight end room on the Raiders. Mayer's playing more and more. Gets to Sam Laporta, Josh Reynolds. Not a ton of huge shocks here within these lineups. Looks like a good mix of different players in these lineups. Hit that like button if you haven't already done so. I would appreciate it. Let me know if there's anything else you want me to cover in future videos. Thanks for watching. Good luck tonight.